Here we are, the last day of the Vero, Willie, and Alex show, except there's only two of us left. We've lost Willie to the office.
Yes.
May he work in peace. So, Vero, tell us, what are we doing today?
Okay, today we're going to the university in Santa Ana, the third largest city of El Salvador. The name of the university is UNICAES, and they manage the English Access program in the university as well for at-risk youth. So we are going to do the screening for them, and after the screening, a bit of a commentary from Alex. Let's see. I hope that they will have very good questions and everything. So. En la biblioteca de la Embajada de Estados Unidos venimos.
All right, so I'm not going to ask you if you liked it. I hope you did. Do you have any questions or comments? You want to translate? They speak English, right?
Hablan inglés, ¿verdad?
Más o menos. Hablan inglés como hablo yo español.
Bueno, dijo que si les había gustado, no quería preguntar si les había gustado, pero que si tienen alguna pregunta, está listo para sus preguntas.
And we have prizes.
Tenemos premios. La primera valiente o el primer valiente.
And I gotta say, generally it's the girls who ask the questions first.
Generalmente son las chicas las que hacen las preguntas primero.
I don't know why. Yeah, okay, see.
How much time you use for this movie?
La pregunta fue que cuánto tiempo se tardó en hacer esta película.
2 años y medio. 2 años. 30 meses. 30 meses. Un tiempo corto. Para los documentales se puede pasar 5 o 6 años para hacerlo. Bueno. Yeah.
How much was it? How much was it?
Money-wise?
Yeah.
You don't really ask questions about budgets usually, because every producer's skill is to spend as little as possible and then tell other people that they spent very, very much so they can sell the movie. See what I mean? We made the movie though for about 1/10 of what it should have cost. A movie like this costs about $500,000. But we had everyone work for free, so we made it a lot for like 50.
¿Necesitan traducción?
But generally, it's a good thing. You don't ask a producer how much a movie cost until long after the movie's sold. Because let's say I made a movie for $50,000, I don't want anybody to know that because I go to a market, or I go to a television, or I go to a festival, and I want somebody to buy my movie, right? If they know my movie costs $50,000, they're going to offer me, what, $55 or $60. But if they think my movie costs $750,000, they're going to offer me $800,000. So I never talk about precio, how much it costs. You only talk about how much it is worth. And a movie is worth as much as a network or a theater chain is willing to pay for it. That's the skill of the producer, to make something not for expensive, not for very much money, and then to sell it for a lot, which was not the case here, because this is more about education, but that's a general principle. Anyway. Yes, a boy. Yay!
What was your inspiration to make this movie?
Kids like you. I went to the festival a year before we shot, and I saw the high school kids so excited about what they were doing. There were 2,000 of them in a big room, and normally in America you only get a big room filled with 2,000 high school kids screaming about something if it's basketball, pretty much. And to me, the fact that they were so excited about theater, I felt that if I could put a little bit of that in the movie, it would be a good movie. So it was kids who inspired me, always, usually.
Was difficult to make a movie?
Hmm?
Was difficult to make a movie?
Yes, it was very difficult to make. It's difficult to make any movie. It takes a long time. You have to really want to do it. You can't change your mind about it. I mean, once you've committed, it's like deciding you're going to go to university. It's going to be a number of years to do it. And while you're doing it, you're going to feel all sorts of things, from a lot of happiness to a lot of sadness, despair, hope, obstacles. It's going to be like this. And the only thing that can keep you going through something like this is a passion. That's the baseline that keeps pushing you up every time. Oh.
What is the reason for you to watch a movie about Shakespeare?
Because that's a personal passion of mine. The question is, why did I make a movie about Shakespeare? My mother is an actress in Romania, where I was born. And she was acting in theater when she was 8.5 months pregnant. So I was on stage in my mom's belly 2 weeks before I was born. And my father is a autor, a dramaturgo, a playwright. So I have theater and film really familiar to me, running through my veins. And Shakespeare particularly, because I like the language. It's so difficult that actually before you can play with it, before you can listen to the music and all that, you have to learn the words. And in learning the words, you learn a lot, because it sounds like English, but it's not English. I mean, it's a totally different kind of English. It's like if you read in Spanish, it would be the equivalent of the writer in whose name is this library, in Cervantes. You know, it's a much higher level of Spanish than the Spanish you read in a newspaper. So that's why I like it. Because English is not my first language. So I was learning English, and I found it was an easy way to learn English. Well, easy, difficult way. Fun. Yep. We can take 3 more questions. Oh, did she get a notebook? Okay, we got 3 more questions. 3 more prizes. Ah, look at this, prizes. Now we have questions. Yes.
Was interesting for you and your team?
It was what? Oh.
Was interesting for you and your team?
What? Dígame en español.
Fue interesante para ti y
If
para
it was
tu equipo?
interesting to make the movie, hacerlo la película, it was everything. At times it was interesting, at times it was annoying, at times it was really hard, at times it was really easy. Sometimes we didn't have money to, pay the crew, so we had to stop. Sometimes we had it, sometimes everything. It's such a long period of time to make a movie. You go through every feeling. You don't just have one feeling about it. But yeah, it was interesting.
Who is your favorite actress?
Who's my favorite actress? Actor or actress? It's a tough question. It's like asking what my favorite movie is. Probably Meryl Streep. Probably Meryl Streep.
Why?
Why? Because she can be anyone. She has this ability to change completely. Very few actors can do that. Robert De Niro used to be able to do it. I'm not sure he still can. Hope he doesn't hear me. But he used to be just like that. He could be someone totally different. Daniel Day-Lewis does that too. A couple of actors who can change completely, and I like that. Yeah.
Was it difficult to work with teenagers because some of them wanted to change something about it or to brush hair?
It's a very good question, but here's why it wasn't difficult to work with the teenagers. Because these teenagers were actors. So they want to be in front of the camera. They don't have the self-image problem or whatever. So they already want to be in front of the camera. So yeah, normally I would say it's probably more difficult to work with teenagers because they're teenagers. They have self-image problems and growth, whatever. You know what I'm talking about because you're talking about it. But these kids, no, they were actors, so they want to be. There were at least 1 or 2 more questions here.
But we don't have awards.
We don't have awards. That's it. No more awards, but a few more questions. Somebody had a hand out. I got one. Yes, 3. Okay, you got 3 last one. 4. That's it. Yeah.
Is theater big in Romania?
Theater, yeah, it's big deal in Romania. It used to be under communism huge because it was an escape. Now a little less, but still pretty big. Not as big as Russia, where theater is religion.
So they take over like they'll take it over like
They're still separate. Film and theater are still separate. Film in Romania is not extremely popular. Romanian movies are winning all these awards in major film festivals, but they haven't become commercial in Romania. Romanian films make more money in other countries than in Romania. You know. There were a few more hands. Yes.
Do you like acting?
Yeah, I love acting. I love acting. I act all the time, but I don't act in my movies because it's too complicated to act and direct. Maybe if I get more experience, I'll do it. Yes. How were the what? The objective. Ah, I see. Objective, yeah. One of those difficult words about where you place the accent. First of all, it's to get people to have fun when they watch it. By having fun, I mean being engaged. Sitting in this. That's the main objective. Then, I understand where you're coming from because when you ask about objective or message, because I was raised in Europe and we have a similar education system, and we talk about the message and the objective and all that. It's less of such a thing in Hollywood. Hollywood movies are made to be successful, which is in itself a whole motivation. But for me, it's to get people to see that you can really educate yourself through language and you don't need much. You need just some time and desire and 4 chairs and a book with Shakespeare or Cervantes or Goethe or whatever you're Pushkin, whatever your writer, your greatest writer or one of the best writers in your language is. So it's hopefully to encourage people to spend less time on their Facebook and more time on their book, but that's a different situation, that's a different story. There was one other hand that I had seen, yes.
What was your inspiration to make a movie?
What was my experience? Inspiration? The inspiration was experience or inspiration? Inspiration. Again, kids, you. Watching somebody your age doing something at a very high level is shocking because normally people, how old are you, 14, 15, 16? 14, okay. Normally, I remember when I was 14, I was a child actor, but I wasn't serious. I was acting in movies. I didn't have to do difficult theater stuff. I had to say some lines or whatever. It wasn't that hard. I always looked at people who did, people who, let's say, play music really at a high level at 14, or can recite poetry or do mathematics or anything. For me, it's interesting. It's also interesting to see because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do that for the rest of your life. I know people who were phenomenal pianists at 14 and became doctors. So it's interesting to me to see something manifest very early. I don't know why. Maybe because young people, children have less worries, less sins, fewer problems, and so they're easier to watch as opposed to adults. One more. Yes?
What was your experience making the movie?
The experience?
What did you feel? What did you feel?
What did I feel? Everything. Because it's so long of a time that initially you feel excited. Oh my God, we're going to make a movie. Excellent. Then you call some friends. Do you want to help me? Do you have any money? No. Okay. Do you want to help me? Do you have any money? No. Okay, I'll help you for 3 days. And you start going, oh my God, what am I doing? And then you realize when you're shooting, in this case, the festival day, it's 2,000 people. So I need 25 camera crews. 25 cameras with sound running around this whole place. Where am I going to get these people? I go on Craigslist. I go on Mandy.com. I go on this professional website. I call film schools. I say, so then you feel all sorts of feelings. And then you feel relief. You understand relief? That's relief. At the end, yeah. And then you feel good, you feel great. You're in front of an audience like here, and you see that people were actually interested, and they didn't get completely bored. And I'm like, great, that's a great feeling, but that's 5 years later. 4 to 5 years later. So you get to feel everything while you make the movie. But that's just life, you know. You don't do it because of how it makes you feel. You do it because you can't do something else, because that's what you have to do. All right. Unless there's another burning one. Okay, one more burning one.
Do you like Shakespeare?
I love Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. I find, I don't have it with me because it's in the other bag, but in my shoulder bag, I have, if you go to the Globe in London, you can buy for a couple of pounds, which is still a lot of money because the pound is so big to the dollar, any play by Shakespeare in a book this big, in a really tiny font. But it's easy to read. It's like your smartphone. You can read it even if it's small, right? Because of the contrast. And I carry Hamlet with me. I think that there are a couple of books, a couple of Shakespeare's plays which are completely relevant to the ages of man. I mean, if he was a woman playwright, maybe he would have focused more on women, but he does. It's not too bad either. But for me, it's like Midsummer Night's Dream, which is in this movie, is about youth. And then first youth. Then you have Hamlet, which is about the passage into adulthood. And I'm still clinging on to that, but I'm probably going to have to switch to Henry V soon. Henry V is about responsibility. And then pretty much you have King Lear and the Tempest, which are about old age in the two different versions of old age, if you want. And that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, I have Hamlet with me all the time. It's at the hotel right now. Thank you. No?
Ok, chicos, muchas gracias. Otro aplauso para Alex.
Facebook us, Facebook the American Film Showcase, Facebook the Embassy. You can find me there. You can Facebook me, ask me questions, whatever. Make movies and be responsible. When you put pictures and films on the internet, just don't. We were looking, I guess we're still looking for pupusas, and we could not find pupusas in El Salvador. I think there's something...
I think it's because of the time of the day.
What? People don't eat at 5?
No, they eat normally at 6 or 7.
Damn it.
So we're sorry.
That's okay. I think I'll live. But tell me, in closing, what is your feeling of the program?
Well, I think we did what we wanted, which was reaching out to youth at risk and different types of risks, as we were discussing during lunch today. People who are pressured to become gang members, as well as kids who are pressured to, by the situation or by their parents or whatever, to go abroad and migrate illegally. So I'm very pleased that they had the chance to see your movie, because your movie really talks to them as young people, because they can see that other young people who had it tough in LA can survive that and become better people through the arts, which is what they are doing. So I would say that it was a great program. I was counting the other day, and we reached out only with your movie 800 people, and also through your conferences. So I'm very pleased with the numbers, and with the other movies I think we're going to reach many more.
I agree. I think it was an amazing time. I can't deal with the fact that I'm going to leave El Salvador without having a pupusa, though. That I find deeply disappointing. I'll have to do something.